Hello, everybody. Welcome to West Virginia. I am going to be doing another short live stream here, so I don't have to upload it to YouTube. I ran across some videos that just came out. Some of them came out an hour ago, some of them just came out 30 minutes ago, but I'm running across these videos. Now, I had knowledge of digital price tagging at grocery stores, that they were wanting to move to that, but I think there was like one store has already done it to try it out, which it could be efficient. You don't have to send an employee out there and spend a couple hours taking that tag down and replacing it with the other tag. Okay, because I used to work with Kroger, I used to do these things, and they do their price changes. At least I know Kroger does their price changes every Monday morning, and each department rearranges something and puts what's on sale right up front. Like in produce, the first table you would encounter is what's on sale that week. Okay, the videos that I'm getting is everybody's still complaining about the pricing. Now, this has been going on for a while, but it's starting to accelerate, I've noticed. And people showing the prices. They've torn the tags off of products. This is at Walmart. And I think there was like a couple Costco's in there. But they were tearing the tags off and they took down the signage that would tell you the price if you're in the clothing aisle. And I'm like, well, how do you know what the freaking price is? Well, this girl in her live or video she did said that the employee said, I'll honor this lower price because it's marked that, but prices of everything is going up and we haven't installed the digital pricing yet. Okay, let me tell you a few things about digital pricing and what it can do. It does make it more efficient to change prices of products and quickly, where you don't have to have somebody out there switching the tags out that are made of paper and you stick them on the shelf. Well, with a digital one, you just type it in the computer and boom, there it is. Well, let me tell you else what that could also do. Not saying that it is going to happen, but it very well could. And when you put your finger up in the air, you can pretty much well tell which way the wind is blowing. I think once they get the digital tags out there and they're operating, you're going to see hyperinflation does. The worst hyperinflation ever was in 1933's Germany. It was called the Weimar inflation. Now, I don't want to scare anybody, but you might want to sit down if you don't know about that. In 1933, over a period of 9 months, prices doubled every 2 hours. Okay? I hope you understand this. There were stories from my great grandparents or grandparents about this. Back, I remember them discussing it as adults. You know, this happened a long time ago. When they, at the time that my great grandparents lived in Germany, and I remember the story that my grandfather would share. He said, I remember that my grandfather would get paid and a bag of money, and he'd have to run it home to his wife. And then she would have to run like a relay runner to the grocery store to buy things with it. Okay? You had to spend your money right away. Because if you didn't, if you went shopping at the end of the workday, that money would buy you one stick of gum. Your money would be worthless. But at its height, it cost 5 million marks for one loaf of bread. At its height. And me and a lot of economists have been warning about this, that it could happen here. We didn't say it was going to happen, but it could. It's only happened one time in human history like this, in 1933's Germany. Signs in the wind. There are a lot of things that it's a lot like, it echoes a lot like the 1930s Germany, but it's a little different. Instead of the SA and the Freikorps going around rounding up uh, enemies of the state, or Jews, Juden is what they would say, communists, socialists, they would be rounding them all up, put them in concentration camps at that time. What are we doing over here? We got ICE rounding up all our undesirables and illegal, supposedly illegals. And yes, they've rounded up American citizens too that could have proved it, but they ignore that. They get them in the slammer, and then hopefully they finally get to talk to somebody about their predicament that they're in. Same thing, folks, just a little bit different. History does not necessarily repeat itself, but it echoes. Now, you could take what I say here, store it in the back of your head, because when you start to see things going on, you'd be like, oh my God, he was right. I hope I'm wrong, to tell you the truth. I really do. But my analysis and my critical thinking skills tell me differently. I take no joy in saying that, you know, we could end up going into a hyperinflation and people are going to be spending their life savings that they, you know, somebody that's in their 50s that have been putting a little bit aside for their savings since they were in their late teens and early 20s. Well, a lot of Germans did that in 1933. They did that over the years, saved a little money put aside. By the height of that inflation, that money that they put aside for so many years was able to buy them a quarter pound of butter. Those people lost everything. It could happen here. People, you know, I got all this in the savings, but it ain't gonna be worth much in a hyperinflation, and you're gonna lose everything. But what we have encountered is the biggest debt in human history. No country has racked up $36 trillion in debt. Never happened before. That's why, in a way, we're stumbling in the dark, literally. They're cutting all these jobs. You got Karens in Georgia ruining it for everybody else to get a good paying job, to where the Koreans took their $20 billion investment and went back home. I would have done the same thing too. I'm like, screw that. But this is a warning about pricing. Like I've told people that are close to me, and now I'm warning all of you. If I were you, and if you can, put a little bit aside to spend on non-perishable items, non-perishable food. That's what I would go with, and I would store it in my basement or in a dry place, and get as much of it as you can. Because I'm telling you, this next economic downturn and crash of our economy is going to be a doozy. And it's going to last a long time. I'd say at least 10 years, because that's how long the last one lasted. It lasted 10 years. When you talk about depressions, talk to the Japanese people. They've been in depression since 1989, and they're still in it. That was a lot of people weren't even born then yet. You observe other countries and you stick your finger up in the air and you see which way the wind's blowing. Some things happen in other countries just shortly before it happens in your own. Well, in the next 4 years, I'll tell you this much, I see no improvement. I see instability with no end in sight. And I take no pleasure in reporting something like this. And to tell you the truth, yeah, I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But like I told you, my analysis and my critical thinking skills brings me to this conclusion. You may not like what I say here, and you won't accept what I say here. But don't shoot the messenger. Because if I didn't care, I wouldn't even made this live stream tell you folks about this. This is a warning. Now, people that don't live in the United States, there's a chance that, a little bit could bleed over to your country. Because it did in 1929. When our market crashed, the whole world was affected. All of Europe was affected. I mean, it was bad. A few days ago, I talked to somebody and made a phone call. I won't tell you who that was, but I mentioned that when the Chinese just dumped 350 billion in bonds, I said, you're not going to hear this in the news. They're not going to report it. Because when shit like this goes down, they try to get as many people blindsided by it as possible. But how could this happen when you got people like me that are warning of you of it? But if you want to understand a little bit more and you came in during the live stream, just watch the replay and then watch it again to get more of a full understanding if you don't understand it. Because I had just explained to you what possibly could happen, and we're talking a matter of days. It could happen by Monday. Come Monday, it could start. It's going to start off slow, and then it's going to accelerate. Trust me. They're going to have those managers, people sitting behind the computer, constantly on the phone with the distributors and all kinds of things. And they say, double the prices again. Do it again. There's going to be somebody on the phone, somebody sitting next to on the computer to change those prices. And you could be picking something out of the shelf, and by the time you get to the register, the price just doubled. And since they don't mark the product, they're going to nail you full price by the time you get to the register. This is going to cause a lot of fighting. Not saying that's going to happen, but there's a good chance it will. But you people have a good day. Hope for the best, but I share the wish, but I don't see it. This is what I see. And I'm glad I could share it with you. You guys have a good day. Bye-bye.